Alright, y'all, hopefully you did what I asked you to do and you stopped the video and you started doing problems 1, 2, and 3. I was recording a video. I got halfway through problem 2 and my Gracie called to tell me where she's at, and I don't know yet on this new document camera that I'm using to record this how to pause, so I'm starting over again. So that's why part of these problems are worked out, and I will explain as I go. So maybe I can cover over so that you can see. Okay, so looking at problem number 1, I'm doing math in pen. You guys don't. I think it shows up better on the screen. Okay, so first thing I had to do was find excluded values. Excluded values are what make the denominator 0. This denominator can never be 0. This denominator, all that will make it 0 is -1. So my excluded values are a equals -1. So then I work the problem. I write the whole problem out here and I put brackets around it. So I write it as an equal. I disregard that. That's your answer. If you want to know if you got it right, that's the answer. I find the common denominator of a plus 1 and 1. Well, it's a plus 1. So write it out in front. I'm eliminating the denominators. A plus 1 will cancel a plus 1 and leave me with a 3. The 1 won't cancel anything, so I'm going to have 3 times a plus 1. I distribute, and I get that. 3 equals 3a plus 3. I move this 3 to the other side, as denoted by that arrow. It becomes a -3, and now I have 3a equals 0. I divide both sides by 3, and 0 divided by 3 is 0, so a equals 0. So now I have my answer and my excluded values. I draw a number line and I put them on it. -1 and 0. -1 is an excluded value, so it's always an open circle. 0 was an answer, so I look right here. If there's a bar, 0 is closed. If there's not a bar, 0 is open. There is a bar, so 0 is closed, so that is a closed dot. Now keep in mind when you do it first, you're not going to have any shading in there because I've already tested. Alright, so I pick points to test. So my first point to test is something to the left of -1, so I tested -2. Then I tested something in between, -0.5, -0.5. Then I tested something to the right, which is 1. I tested in my head. You can use your calculator, but these are super easy. Let's test -2. And somebody's texting me. It's probably a student. No, it's my husband telling me Gracie's almost to Greensboro. We have to keep in contact. Anyway, -2 plus 1 is -1. 3 divided by -1 is -3. -3 is greater than 3. False. Let's test -1/2. -1/2 plus 1 is a half. 3 divided by 1/2 is 6. It's not 1.5, it's 6 because it's 3 divided by 1/2 and you have to flip the 1/2 and multiply. So 6 is greater than 3. It's true. Then I test 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So here is 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5. 1.5 is greater than 3 is false. So I shade the true bits, which is this. So here's my answer by shading. Here's my answer with symbols. I accidentally wrote an X. That's the problem of working math in pen. -1 is an open, so it's -1 is less than a, is less than or equal to, because it's closed, 0. And here it is in set notation. -1 is less, or -1 comma 0, parenthesis, bracket. So I'm going to stop this and upload individual problems so that if my phone rings again, I won't lose the whole video. So here's problem 1. Now the next link will be problem 2.